My name is Charles Rollison. I'm currently Senior Vice President of Clinical Operations for Ob Hospitalist Group.
My name is Teresa Marlino, and I am an OB hospitalist and site director at St. Luke's University Health System.
I went to medical school on a health profession scholarship through the United States Navy. So I was in some capacity either active duty or reserve from 1992 until I was honorably discharged in 2014.
I'm also a veteran of the U.S. Navy Reserve. I served in the Persian Gulf during the Desert Shield and Desert Storm missions in 1991. At that time, I was a physical therapist and I had sought a direct commission into the Navy Reserves after college. We were a fleet hospital that was preparing for possible deployment to the rear of a combat zone in support of the Marines. In less than 2 weeks' time, we set up a 500-bed hospital in the desert. The Iraqi military deployed Scud missiles, which were launched at Saudi Arabia. I remember running out of my tent and getting into the sandbag bunkers that we had made around the tent, putting on my gas mask. And it's at that moment that I decided that if I survived this, I was going to come home and go to medical school.
When I left active duty, I was in private practice in a very traditional OB-GYN group for about 10 years. In the spring of 2013, I just received a random email from OBHG Recruiting. I had at that time really not heard of OB hospitals, really was not that familiar with the concept. And as I did some research over that weekend and looked into it, I thought this sounds amazing, both for patient care and professional lifestyle. So I made the decision that Monday to put in my application, and I've never looked back.
One day in early 2019, I received an email from a recruiter, picked up the phone, called the recruiter, and had a nice conversation, decided that I would pursue this further. I quickly learned I loved being a hospitalist. It was an easy transition to make after 21 plus years in private practice. I loved being able to just focus on patients in the hospital who needed my help. I loved not being pulled in so many different directions and feeling that I was just putting fires out everywhere in my personal and professional life before becoming an OB hospitalist.
Since I joined OBHG, I've always found it to be a company that both recognizes and supports veterans and what they've done, in their past service to the country. I think it translates well from a mission, vision, values perspective when you look at what it's like to be in the military to serve and to serve for OBHG. I think, honor and integrity are two core values of both of those service lines, if you will. I think one of the key things you learn when you're in the service is it's a teamwork game. We would say two is one and one is none. We are very collaborative and team based from the top down, and we really value collaboration and the individual contributions to the group effort.
Being in the military helps you to be flexible as you adapt to what situation you're in, which is really what we do as OB hospitalists. We are working in a department in a hospital system, working towards a mission of providing quality, evidence based care to the community of women. I believe that the missions and the goals are very similar to what we learn as a functioning military unit.
And here I am 10 years later, and I would tell you that both professionally and personally, it was the best decision that I ever made.